you're in for a great treat. I've been after this gentleman for many, many years to do a motivational speech, to talk about his life, how he did it, everything that he does, and everything that he will continue to do with Westgate. This gentleman, when he graduated from college, went into the insurance business. At age 21, he was the top agent out of 1,100 agents in the insurance business in the state of California. One. At age 22, 1 year later, out of all agents, United States-wise, he was number one. You're going to hear me say a couple things about this gentleman. Focus, visualization, belief. Visualization, focus, believe in yourself. When he was 24 years old, when he'd made all this money in the insurance business, he said, I need to open up my own real estate company. 24 years old. Opened an insurance company, made a lot of money. He heard about Orlando, Florida, in the huge state of California. He heard, I don't know how he heard it, but he must have visualized it, that Mickey Mouse was there. Mickey Mouse was coming. He came to Orlando and started another real estate venture. When he went to get his real estate license, he heard about this thing called timeshare. And it intrigued him. And they talk very little in the real estate, when you get your license, they talk very little about timeshare because that's like a bad word, timeshare. Huh? So what happened was he got intrigued, he got into the timeshare business. He came to Westgate Resorts in 1984. Loved the timeshare business. Top salesman on the line in the summer of 1984. Superstar sold 13 days in a row, 13 weeks of timeshare. Unheard of back then. Now we have some people that do it, okay? Promoted in 1984, David Siegel promoted him to TO. From there, the next 2 years, he was the greatest TO ever, wrote 50% more business as a TO than any other TO at Westgate Vacation Villas. 50% more. Promoted to general manager in 1987. Smart man, visualized. Didn't go out to Cheers like a lot of people did at the end of the business day. Started roaming around Southwest Orlando. Started roaming around, taking his commissions, opening up another company that would buy real estate. He had the vision that a lot of people didn't have back then. That's why he is who he is today. Okay? He used his brains. He used his money. He used his connections. He did everything that was right. He was the best success story so far today that Westgate has ever had. We are very honored to hear from him. I did a class with the Epcot class, about 50 salesmen this morning, and I'm addressing you. And I said to you, pay attention to this gentleman, because this gentleman is going to put a lot of money in your pocket. You can talk about Joel Osteen speaking. You can talk about any of the other guys speaking. We are very, very honored today. I am very honored to call this guy my boss, my friend, but better than that, my brother. My brother. He hired me 30 years ago, and that was probably one of the best things he's ever done. Okay? But, no further ado. I know at the end of this program, you're going to stand up and cheer, and you're going to ask him for an autograph. You're going to ask him, can I stop in and talk to you whenever I get an opportunity, and you get an opportunity? Get on your feet. Give it up for this man who's got a plan. This is my brother, Mr. James L. Gissy.
Well, that was a hell of an introduction, Bobby. Damn, I'm having a hard time living up to that one. But I sure do appreciate it. I'll give you an extra raise in your paycheck Friday, you know. Actually, I'm glad y'all are happy, and that music made me feel good when I walked in here. But I woke up sick as a dog this morning, and I got more damn Zyrtex and Benadryl in me than Georgia's got peaches. So I was like nodding out driving down here thinking, oh, God, I was at the red light. I was kind of nodding off. Man, I got to get some energy. I got to give a speech, but I can feel it. You know, when I walked in the room, I heard that music playing, and I could feel the energy, and it just wakes you right up. But I would like to go back to what Bobby said. I was fortunate enough to start working as a salesman, just like you guys, January 3rd, 1984. That's when I went to work for David Siegel. He had opened up the resort a year and 2 weeks earlier. He'd opened it December 15th of 82. He didn't run the sales and marketing. He hired a company to do the sales and marketing, and then a year later, the contract was for 1 year. He decided to hire his own salespeople in marketing and do it himself. So a year and 2 weeks after he started, well, actually, I guess I started right when he started, January 3rd of 84. The first year was another company selling Westgate for him. He owned it, but he had hired them. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the past, a little bit about the present, a little bit about the future. This meeting's not really going to be a motivational about visualization or setting goals or how you handle rejection and all those important things that got you here, because obviously you already know how to do that or you wouldn't be in the room, because you're the top half of the line that made it through the cuts after the summer. We can always use a refreshment on that type of stuff, but I'm not going to do that today. You don't need to motivate people when you're fixing to give away 2 Mercedes-Benz, 2 7-day cruises on ICE, which is Westgate Cruise and Travel, is giving you 2 7-day cruises anywhere you want to go, you and a guest, and we're paying all the taxes, fees, and everything. And also, 2II is giving us 2 weeks. So all expenses, I mean, you know, no pay when you go for 7 days, 7 nights in a luxury 2-bedroom condo. I mean, those vacations are worth several $1,000 was in the cruise, even more. So that's enough motivation for today, but I thought you might want to hear a little bit of a history lesson, you know, like kind of how we got to where we are now. Let's talk about where we are now and then where we're headed in the future. So first of all, if you go back to January 3rd, 1984, I got to ask a question. How many people were born after January 3rd, 1984? If you were, raise your hand. If you were born after. Now, that's a third of the room, or 25% of the room, okay? What? Oh, hell no, I know some of you wasn't born. Okay. Lady back there cashing her Social Security check, got her arm up. Anyway. That's all right. You know, I don't know the chronological order. Myrtle Beach, Westgate, Williamsburg, you know, Las Vegas, Mesa, Arizona, Park City, Utah. You know, it just kept growing and growing. Next thing you know, you have 30 resorts around the country, and you're this giant company doing in excess of $1 million, $200 million in revenue. And of all the different sales lines we have, all the different Daylines, all the different in-houses, all the different sales centers all around the country, do you know that the #1 sales department that we have is sitting in this room right now? You guys represent over $160 million. You represent over $160 million of sales just sitting around this room. No other individual subgroup can say that. I mean, Dayline is right on your ass and it's clipping heels. It's gonna be neck and neck. But you beat them last year by a few million, but right now you're still a few million ahead of them. So it could go either way. But you're still the #1 Sales are the department we have in the whole company as far as creating volume and profits. Because the profits are better on in-house than they Dayline because you don't have the expenses of marketing costs. You're not giving all the Disney tickets to bring them in. And the closing percentage is a little higher. But we love the Dayline too, because without the Dayline, you guys wouldn't be getting new tours every year, new customers. So we're all like, it's like the heart and lungs, we need them all. But we're all part of the same team and the same vision that David created, when it was back in the early 80s. So it's just interesting. And by the way, I thought it was expensive in 1983. September weeks were $4,900. Summer was $7,600. Because last week when I knew I was going to speak at the Dayline, when I pulled in my office, I pulled my sales contract. I still got them. They're over 30 years old on my bottom drawer. And I pulled them out. I've got sale in September for $4,900. And summer corner units were $7,200, $7,600 for the deluxe upstairs at the time. And then a year or two later, I sold two, I guess 9 months later, I sold 2 Easter weeks for $16 grand. They were upstairs corners in K building. But I'm saying, think about somebody paying $7 grand for a summer week back in those days. If they've used it 33 years, okay, I mean, what would they have spent in vacations, okay? And our maintenance fees back then were $130, $175, $199, so they probably averaged in that 30-year like a $400 or $500 maintenance fee. So you tell me they didn't get a value for what they paid. Have you looked at what hotels are costing these days? I mean, I stay a lot, I travel a lot, and I'm shocked at what I'm paying for hotel rooms now. Hotel rooms is nothing to pay $300, $400 a night for a hotel anymore. $200, even I was up in Jekyll Island, Georgia. I stayed at the Hampton Inn. It was $229 a night. I mean, for Hampton Inn, but I got to tell you, I love Hampton Inns. Whoever designed them Hampton Inns, they just spent me just right. But still, it was still $229 for a hotel room. Now, if I'd had children with me or something, I'd have been having 2 rooms and having to pay $450 a night. It's amazing. It's kind of surreal for me to be standing up here in this space right now, because even this parking garage and the buildings and all the units here and all the new stuff we're doing. Because I remember when David bought it, I had an in-house meeting. I took him out on the island, and I pointed, and I've got a video. I'm going to have to dig up. I got 30 or 40 old videos. I'm going to dig them up now. And I was pointing, saying, one day there'll be buildings built all around that lake. Now you can go out on the island, and they're all there. Okay? I'm looking at my daughter, Greta Gissy, in the front row here. She's, I worked for David when she was born. She was born March, I won't get this wrong. She was born March 22nd, 1984. I started with David January 3rd. I was 27 years old. A lot of you guys are 27 years old. And that lady with a Social Security check too. But I'm saying, 20s or 30s, whatever. And now I'm 61. I'll be 61 in October. So that's a lot of years to be here. And let me tell you something, I ain't going nowhere. I was thinking a few weeks ago, my stomach was bothering me. I said, man, I'm tired. Maybe I'll retire, And I got plenty of real estate. I'll just manage that. Ain't feeling so good. Man, that hurricane came, and I don't know about y'all, but I spent 4 days in my pajamas. And about that 3rd day, I was boo-hoo crazy. And I couldn't wait to get out of the damn house. And you're going to think I'm making this up, but Tuesday when we had to close the line, I wasn't staying in my house again. So I drove out and sat in my damn office for 2 or 3 hours, just read my newspaper out there. I mean, because I'm just used to going there, I guess, If you get up and drive someplace every day where you're 27 years old, you just automatically got to go back. And it's boring when you're outside of Westgate. I mean, this is a hard job. I mean, we're glamorizing it. When you're on a roll, it's easy. But let's face it, there's not one person in here that hadn't thought about quitting, because I used to think about quitting all the damn time. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a bad day, you think the manager blew the deal, or, somebody stole your tour and he was laid out and you got, what I mean? I mean, there's always that day, okay? There's always that day. Because I had mine in June of 1984. I wrote 5 deals in June of 1984 and 4 of them canceled. And I drove out of Westgate one day on a Friday, and I said, I am not coming back to this damn place. I'm going to get me a regular job. I don't care if I make $300 a week. At least I know I'm going to eat. And I went home and told my wife, and I said, honey, I quit. And she goes, well, you quit? You don't quit nothing. I said, I quit. She goes, what'd your boss say? I said, I didn't tell him. I said, because after 5 o'clock, he was already gone. And so I said, but when I go in Monday morning, I'm quitting. I'm going to tell him. And then I had a day or 2 off. You know how that is. You unwind a little bit and get back to senses. And my wife said, well, why don't you just work July and August? Because don't they say the summer's the best time anyway? And that's when I started my 13-week, role, and then the rest was history. I started training it. So you just had to get through those slumps, you know what I mean, where you go a little while without selling and hang in there and freshen up. What I do sometimes, go get a haircut, or I go buy a new jacket or a new suit or a new shirt, something to mix it up, because you just got to get out of that mindset, get fresh, and come back in. Also, you get on a roll, you write six deals in a week, and then you got the greatest job in the world. And you look back and you say, hell, I didn't sell anything for 2 weeks, but that last 2 weeks I made $25,000. And then, so it just works that way. You got to hang in there to get through it. But anyway, that's kind of the past. And think about this. I want that story, because I never know what I'm going to talk about. I just got ideas in my head, and half some of the stuff I talked about last week, but I just let it come in, okay? I remember one day a man coming in my office. You remember, you know where J.K. and I building is, right around the lakes over there, right across from the big sales center there, town center. He came running in, it was probably 10 years ago. He bought from me back in 84, pre-construction. And he ran in there and he said, Jim, my unit is awesome. He goes, somebody went in there and put all new granite countertops and put a flat screen TV and put all new tile on the floor, new beds, everything's new. My wife loves it, but I'm really nervous. And I said, what you nervous about? He said, how much are you going to bill me for that? I said, we're not going to bill you nothing. He said, well, somebody spent $25,000, $30,000 redoing that room minimum. You gotta bill me for it. I said, no, Bob. I said, it's been in your maintenance fee. I said, every year you pay that maintenance fee, a little money set aside that whenever you need to have things replaced, you don't pay. All you got is your purchase price, and then once a year your maintenance fee. Your vacation, once it's paid for, your vacation with maintenance fee the rest of your life. He thought, oh my God, that's great. I mean, you get a brand new unit. I mean, if any of you ever buy a vacation home, you'll see why Timeshare, the future Timeshare, is good, because it don't make no sense to pay for the whole damn thing, because most people use it 1 or 2 weeks a year. Let's face it, even I vacation, 3 or 4 weeks. I don't need one 52 weeks a year. I own one, but it's the stupidest damn thing I bought. So Daytona Shores, the maintenance fee is $730 a month. There's no mortgage on it. It costs $800,000. And the taxes are $11,000 a year, and you pay the cable and the air conditioning. I look at it, my accountant shows me it costs $26,000 a year to own it without a payment. And I started thinking, I spent 10 days a year over there. I should have bought 2 weeks of timeshare, because what I spent in 1 year just that could have bought the timeshare and had not put the $800,000 in there. Plus, it's probably worth $500,000 right now. So what I'm saying is, there's a market in the future for timeshare, okay? So it's only going to get better, but I'm supposed to save that for the future. I'm still in the past. Let me get up to the present. All right, so now I'm going to get to the present. Where are we today? So that's kind of how we got here. Just one day at a time. Working hard, getting up daylight to dawn, working hard, and then you end up where you're at now. With all these resorts and companies expanding. I don't know if any of you guys have seen what David and Mark have done in Las Vegas, but it's absolutely incredible to buy a 3,000-room casino with a monorail coming in and out, with 16 restaurants and bars, and the Elvis Presley studio with 1,600 seats, 300 suites up top, 3 suites on the whole top floor that they cost $20 million, $65 million to build them when they put them up there. I mean, it's mind-boggling that Westgate owns that. And then we took 2 floors, and David's making them beautiful timeshares, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms. I don't know if you've been there, but if you haven't, you should try to go. And then as we sell them out, we'll take another 2 floors, another 2 floors. So that one will be going on for 50 years out there. But it's an amazing location, and it's just amazing how far this company's come. So, presently, where are we at? All right. Presently, where are we at? Okay. This is the first year. We doubled. Let me just say this. We went straight up for 25 years. And then in 2008, when the banks had the crisis because they made so many bad loans to people to buy houses that didn't have any business buying them because they didn't have the ability to pay for them, and the banks got in all that trouble, they stopped loaning money. Y'all know about the Great Recession of 2008, okay, like a depression. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, a lot of banks went out of business. The stock market went down to it was over 14,000 October 9th of 2007. A year later, it started going down. It went down in March of 2009, it was down to 6,600. Okay, so there was a fortune lost in the stock market. Houses that were 300,000 worth 150 to 200. Unemployment was over 10%. Okay, and that's the mess we were in 2008. 08, 09, 010. Y'all remember that? They never quit buying timeshare. Okay? And that's from the future, Jimmy. Bring it back here. Anyway, so mine's a funny thing to play, especially that damn Benadryl, man. Anyway, what was the point I was trying to make? Anybody help me? I've got a spaced out dude over here right now, but I'll do the best I can. What was I saying? Got it, thank you. Got it. 08, 09, 010. So what happened, we had to drop our business in half, okay? We went down in half. You know why? Because when you buy to sell timeshare, you got to buy Disney tickets, you got to pay the marketing people, you got to pay the rental location, you got to bring them out, and then you got to tour them. You got to tour, 5 or 6 to get a sale, and then some of them are pending. So in other words, you're laying the money. You got to build the buildings. You're laying all this money out front, but what do you get down? When you sell a week for $10,000, we're laying out like $7 or $8 grand up front. But we don't get $10,000, we get $1,000 down in a monthly payment. So when the banks quit lending, we had to drop our sales in half, not because people didn't want to buy timeshare, because we couldn't lay all that money out front. We had to manage more of a tighter budget type thing. And no banks were lending. Now every bank in the world wants to give David Siegel money. He just tells them, you can stick it where the sun don't shine. I don't need your damn money. In fact, he's bigger than the banks now, because after that crash, he said, because on that building in Vegas, the Lord works in mysterious ways. We lost a damn fortune on it, because they loaned him all the money to build it, but they wouldn't loan him the money to sell it. And then the note came due. Instead of renewing the note, they said, sell it back to us. And he was kind of had his hand tied. He said, that'll never happen to me again. I will never have a damn bank. All of his no bank loans to debts, all his loans non-recourse, and he is loaded with cash in the bank. Oh, that's for the future too, because that money's going to help us grow, okay? But anyway, the point is that was a negative for him. But no matter what negative, it still ends up being positive, because you know what? If he'd owned that building, he wouldn't have went out and bought that 3,000-room hotel casino, and the people that owned it, Colony Capital, they were offered $700 million for it before the crash, and then when the crash came, they were losing $20 million a year because there was nobody going to Vegas. They sold it to him for $150 million, okay? So the money he lost on a smaller building, he ended up rolling it. So he's the kind of lucky guy that he can step, like my grandma say, step in a bucket of cow crap and come out smelling like a rose, No matter what happens to him, it just always works his way. But just happened to you too. There's things in your life that you think, oh my God, it's the worst thing in the world. It's where you have anxiety, fear, and you get right to the point that happens. No big deal. Or that makes you go this direction, and then this direction ends up being twice as good. And you say, hey, I never would have went here if this didn't happen. So just trust God sometimes that he's got a plan for you. When things don't always work out your way, don't get all nagged out and negative and thinking, oh, life's on me. No, there's a reason why. Roll with it. And stay positive, and whatever confronts you, deal with it. That's all. And but anyway, getting back to the present, let's look at our country. Now when we cut our sales in half, once we got cleared up and we started getting money, what did we do the last 4 years? We doubled. We doubled our sales in the last 4 years. Now, what do we see in 2017? We're flat. So we don't have any growth this year. In other words, we're doing what we did in 16. But in 16, we were running around with like a chicken with his head cut off, saying, this is the best year we ever had. So just because we're flat this year don't mean I'm going to be negative. If last year we were doing this volume, it was the best year I ever had, so it ought to be pretty good this year too. Now, why are we flat? Meaning we're doing the same business we did last year, even though we have a little bit higher VPG. Well, this has been a very divisive year. America is more divided right now than I've ever seen in my life, or at least it's divided on TV, okay? Because, we had a very divisive election. Half the people like Hillary Clinton, half of them like Donald Trump. And it ain't just a little bit like, I like this one, but I can like this one. No, I like this one and I hate that one. In other words, it's like not good, oil and water don't mix. But I look at it like this. A lot of people didn't like Obama. He got elected, okay? Once he got elected, he's my damn president. And guess what? I like him. I liked him all 8 years because the same way as Trump. Trump got elected. He's the damn president. I'm American. I'm going to support my president, regardless of who he is. Yeah. And I thought of I'm probably the only guy that thinks Obama's great, and I like parts of Trump too. In other words, it's just what it is. But I got to tell you, the TV is brainwashing us a little bit. Because my son is a doctor. He's doing his residency, and he had a year in New Orleans. And I spent some time in New Orleans. I went there and helped him find a place. I went to visit him a few times. And then he got transferred to Emory Hospital in June in Atlanta. So we went up there in March or April, tried to find him a place and all that stuff. Well, Atlanta, Georgia is majority African American. And there's more black millionaires in Atlanta, Georgia than any place in the world. New Orleans is majority African American, okay? I was in New Orleans many, many times. And I was in Atlanta many, many times. And I ain't never seen anybody even arguing. In other words, I'm not watching the news. I'm telling you, just go up to Atlanta and go to the restaurants, go to the malls, and you'll see black and white and Hispanic and Indian and Asian and Oriental all blended in just perfectly fine. You'll go to restaurants, they're all mixed, and the only time I see trouble with the races, for me, is on television. And I think the TV is kind of rousing you up, you know what I mean? In other words, look, if you got 100 white people, sure, I tell you right now, 20 of them's crazy as a damn loon, okay? And if you got 100 black people, 20 of them's crazy. And if you got 100 Asian or Hispanic, 20 of them crazy. You know what I'm saying? Go to Walmart next door and sit there and watch. You say, crazy? Oh shit, that's real crazy. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, you've seen it, right? The problem is people are going on the press, are going to get them kind of people for interviews, you know? Not the 80%, they're decent, hard-working people. They get these wackos, you know? They get these, you know, the Nazis or what are Nazis? I grew up with those kind of people. They're just white rednecks, don't have anything better to do. I mean, everywhere I went, there was Confederate flags, and black people had them in their houses. If you go to where I'm from in South Georgia, it don't bother nobody. It only bothers the Yankees and people on TV, okay? So I guess what I'm trying to say to you, well, look at this room. Look around this room. Every doggone religion, race, nationality sitting in this damn room. We get along just fine. So I'm saying the world is not as bad as what the TV tries to get you worked up. Because, see, that creates press. You know, that creates press, and it gets the good people thinking like the bad people. And I don't want that to happen. And it ain't going to happen. Because the fact of the matter is, look at these hurricanes. Quick as I seen Houston, Texas, what did you see? You didn't see nobody worried about black or white or Hispanic, what color, Asian or Filipino, what it are. It was everybody in helping everybody. It was black people pulling white children out of houses that are flooding, and it was black and white people pulling black out, and right on down the line. Because when it gets right down to a tragedy, we're still people. And we got way more damn good in us than we got bad. Now, we all got a little good and bad, but we got way more good. Way more good. And the good people got to spread the word. That's what we got to do. We got to spread the word. And don't listen to the crazy-ass people. That's what I'm saying. So, because that's what I saw. I mean, my daughter will tell you. I mean, we were up there. My son had just got his apartment. I met Greta. And my wife went up there to see our son. He had just moved in his new place and everything. And like I said, it don't matter where you go. I said, wow, this is total harmony. And I saw hundreds of thousands of people. I don't go in a mall and just look here. I look at everything, like I'm looking at the floor. And I say, these people are totally getting along great in this city of Atlanta, Georgia. Okay? And so anyway, and in fact, I left Atlanta and flew out to Scottsdale, Arizona. And then I got on one of these wild trips with David and Mark. We were in San Diego. I was in Scottsdale one night. I think Atlanta Sunday night. Scottsdale Monday night. We were in San Diego Tuesday night. We were in Lake Tahoe Wednesday night. And we were in Vegas Thursday night. And the whole time I was looking to see, and everybody was getting along, everybody's blending in. Okay? You're seeing it right now. You're seeing it everywhere you go. And the only place they ain't blending in is on the damn TV. So just know that when you're watching some of that news, because a lot of it's hogwash. I mean, it's real, but it's just a small print. They try to make it bigger. So that's presently where we are. But if you look at where we are to say that we're flat this year, I'm very happy, because last year we were kicking it. But when you have a divisive election like this, and they have hurricanes, we also had some currency devaluate problems in Brazil. You know, the Canadians, now English, you know, a year or two ago, their money wasn't buying what it was, but it's coming back now. In other words, it's coming back in their direction. It's leveling out. So that's kind of where we're on the present. But I got to tell you, speaking of the present, last Friday, like I said, it was Friday, and there was a couple things. But one of them, You know, I got an invitation to go over and meet at the Hyatt Regency, be there at 11:30. There's a luncheon with the Orlando Business Journal. Now, Orlando Business Journal, you guys might know this paper. Right there, Orlando Business Journal, comes out once a week. And it's basically focused on businesses. But every year they have a luncheon, and they have the top 100 privately owned companies. Public is where the companies sell stock and get investors, you know, like Disney World, you can buy stock in Disney, or you can buy stock in SunTrust Bank, or you can buy stock in Darden Restaurants. Those are public companies. Everybody owns it. There's a board of directors that manages it. Private means it's owned by one or two or three or individuals, are privately owned, not public, not the shares aren't sold. In this case, David Siegel owns 100% of Westgate Resorts, so this is as privately owned as you can get, okay? And out of the 100, here's the El Jefe Grande right here. But it says right here on number one, you don't think we could be number one, do you? Now this is on revenue. Number one in all of Central Florida. In the paper last week, I was there for luncheon. He got up on the stage, had to give a speech. Number one, right here, Westgate Resorts. 5601 Wendover Drive, revenue in 2016. Now, this revenue is timeshare, is when we rent the rooms, it's our restaurants, our spas. I mean, we did over $100 million in food and beverage last year. Okay? All of our restaurants and bars, over $100 million. The gentleman that runs all that is Mark Brzezinski, who happens to be on vacation right now, and he reports to our Chief Operating Officer, Mark Waltrip. And I tell you, it wouldn't be right not to give Mark a little extra credit. I'm going to tell you why. Everything you see you getting built reports up to him, and I'm going to tell you in a second some things he's going to be building for you the next 12 to 18 months. So Mark, stand up, because this is the man that builds everything himself. And he works his ass off, I can tell you that right now. Daylight to dawn. But the point is, imagine that. Imagine that. I'm standing up here on this stage. Now, when I spoke to Dayline last week, that was on Wednesday, so I didn't know this, because this happened on Friday. So imagine we are working for the company in all of Central Florida. That's Brevard, Volusia, Lake, Seminole, Osceola, okay? All the companies that are privately owned. And Westgate Resorts is the #1 in revenue in the whole damn Central Florida. And we work for the company, that same company that had a Clay Road January 3rd, 1984, selling out of a triple wide mobile home. And let me tell you, it all starts with you. It all starts with you. Well, I guess you could say it all starts with the marketing, because they got to get the tour. And then they got, you know, the Dayline salesmen, they come back. But it all starts with you. Mark don't have a damn thing to build if you don't sell nothing. If y'all just wake up in the morning and don't sell nothing for 3 or 4 months, guess what? We ain't built nothing. So in other words, we don't build nothing without you. And you should be proud of what you do. You know why? You have created 12,000 jobs here in Central Florida. You've created jobs. There's engineers, the maintenance, the maids, the restaurants, the servers, all these people, the general managers, okay? Think about the construction company that built this building we're in right now. You saw them here, all them guys work. They're working. They're getting a paycheck. Let me tell you, that means a lot, because you can have a lot of damn problems, but if you ain't got a job, they're magnified by 10, okay? Every human being needs a job. We need some place to go to be productive and add to society. And there's no place I know that I'd rather be than here doing it. Reason be, think about it. Once you make that sale, David's got to build a building. So he's got to hire a contractor. Contractors got to hire concrete guys, plumbers, electricians. Okay, all the things you have to add to the TVs. Yourself, somebody's got to build those TVs, the beds, the furniture, the washers, the dryers. Think about the jobs you're creating. Then the people come down on vacation. Somebody's got to clean the rooms. The maids, get a call, hey, the toilet's backed up. Engineers got a job. Somebody's got to mow the grass. Somebody's got to landscape. Somebody's got to work the front desk. They're going to eat. Somebody's got to work in the restaurants, the bars, right on up to the general management level. Look at all the jobs you're creating. And then you got families that are going on vacation. They're up there working their ass off in Pittsburgh or Baltimore or Nashville, Tennessee or California, wherever they might be. And, it's hard. Even it's hard for you guys. It's hard for everybody. It's hard. I mean, they're working hard. They get a week's vacation, 2, 3, 4 weeks a year. But once they buy this timeshare from you, now they're planning. They're coming back. They're staying in a luxury condo. They're not staying in a hotel room, okay? And if they have kids, they'd have to have 2 hotel rooms. And they're buying it with the same money they would pay in those hotel rooms. And those hotel rooms have full kitchens or washer and dryers and all the extra luxury, which I don't need to sell you guys. You guys make a living telling that. But that's really what's happening. And then these people are paying property tax. Okay? They're paying, you see that $100 property tax, $80 or $100, depending on which resort you work at. That's for every week. So we're talking about $4,000 or $5,000 a villa. Every one time David builds another 100 units, it's another $4 or $5 million being paid to Orange County in property taxes annually. Or Osceola County out of the town center. Think about how much money that is. What does the county do with that $5 million just on 100 units? We're paying a lot more than $5 million, but with thousands of units. We're the largest taxpayer in Osceola County. Think about that. I mean, I can't imagine. We've got to be getting close. We're bigger than Disney in Osceola now. Most of their stuff is in Orange, so they're bigger than us now. But I'm just saying, think about that 4,000 or 5,000. Let's say on a 100 units, 4 or 5 million. Now Orange County collects that money. Guess what they're doing with it? They're paying the damn sheriff that will come to your house tonight if your wife shoots your ass, okay? They're paying the fireman or the policeman that will be there if you get in an accident on the way home. Okay, I remember one day I was out in the Butler chain of lakes on a jet ski. And I don't want to run too long because I got rambling on. And I was in a jet ski and these 2 guys were over there. And all of a sudden I heard a noise. I looked back and it was right by the bridge on Chase Road. And the one guy was in the water. The one jet ski was going like this and the other was sitting on a jet ski. I said, oh shit, they just crashed. So I went over there. And I looked, and the guy was floating because he had a life jacket on. And I'm telling you, that bone was coming out of there. It was one of them where the bone was coming out of the skin, they call it compound fracture. So there was a sales center at Butler Sound. That was a real estate, there's a subdivision called Butler Sound. In fact, David was there. But the real estate office was real close. So I drove my jet ski up, tied it up, ran in to the sales center and said, oh my God, there's been a guy that's, split his leg open out there. Call the police and get the ambulance out here. And I'm telling you, before I could get back on my jet ski and get back over to the bridge on Chase Road, there was a friggin' ambulance up there sitting on Chase Road with 2 cops climbing down the side of the damn hill with a stretcher to get that boy out of the water. Now that was probably 20 years ago. I looked out there and I said, I ain't never gonna bitch about paying my property taxes, because that could have just been me, and I'd have loved to have somebody here within 5 minutes. And only in America can you do that. You gotta pay for it. So that $5 million on 100 units, or figure 1,000 units, 50 million, that money is paying these people, okay? It's tax money to the counties paying the schools. Where do you think the schools get the money to build? Property tax. Property tax pays for your schools, your libraries, your police, your services. So you guys, when you make the sale, and you get that family a blessing because they're going to start coming on vacation to Florida and staying in a luxury condo instead of dinky-ass hotel rooms, they're going to have a much more luxurious day. They're going to stay in things that could rent for $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $1,000 a night, but they normally wouldn't pay it, but they will if they own it. So they won. You got a commission. You won. We made money, we won, but look at all the thousands of people that got a job forever because of it, and look what you're doing in Orange County. In fact, they ought to have a damn statue down on Lake Eola just for David Siegel for the amount of taxes we pay around here. And that's what you're doing. I mean, you got to follow it all the way through and look at the whole thing, and you realize the economic impact that we make. Besides how much food our customers, I'm rambling on. Now, enough of that. Let's talk about the future. Let me just take a swallow if you don't mind. I wish this had some moonshine in it. All right, so this is a really exciting day because, like Bobby said, we're going to give away some very awesome gifts to a very deserving crew. And like I said, when you walk around this town, you want to have your damn head up, okay? Because you are delivering a lot for your community. When you hear about people, kids, you're paying for them. Or you're creating the money that's paying for them. Okay, so everybody in all of Orange County ought to be, and also ought to be thanking you guys. Okay, so, and I mean, it sounds kind of hokey, but it's damn sure true. Okay, so thank you for what you do for everybody, not just yourself, but everybody that you're affecting somewhere down that chain. Now, let's talk about the future. Future looks really, really good. Okay, Mark, how many people in here working at the Palace? Raise your hand if you're working at the Palace. Okay? Let me tell you something we haven't announced yet, but we're going to be announcing it real soon. In fact, the guy's flying down from Wisconsin, and we have a meeting with him, Mark, 2 o'clock, and then we have one with David at 3:30. Westgate Palace is going to be getting a floating water park on the lake. Okay? And it's cool. Okay? It sounds weird. How do you have a floating water park? Well, it's a company in Germany that makes it. It's called Wivet. And they're kind of like the giant Lego things you snap together, and you have all these there, and it floats. And basically, you have a floating water park that's going to be added to the palace, beside a few other extras are going in. Raise your hand if you work at the town center. Okay, the Villas and Town Center. Let me tell you what things that you have going. And when's the town center starting? All the restaurants are in. Okay, so in January, February, or March, the first quarter, we're starting construction. They're all designing it now, all under that water park. How about that water park? Was that a hell of an amenity for David to spend $20 million on? Do you charge your owners for it? No, you can't believe how many owners have come up to me and said, man, I get my maintenance fee work just on my 4 kids using that water park. I mean, David paid $20 million for that, okay? And that's just out of pocket. But he's spending a lot more money right now. That whole first floor is going to be a giant food court with multiple restaurants. He's going to have a bowling alley in there. So, I mean, there's a lot more coming to the Villas and Town Center. If you work at Westgate Lakes, you got this beautiful building here, but this space over on the other side, on the top floor, when are you starting that, Mark? The restaurant and bar going in there? Yeah. Okay, so the first January, February, March, they're going to start construction on that. So all you guys at the lakes, you're going to have a beautiful bar and restaurant, and it looks out over the lake on the top floor, and you can see Disney fireworks every night. You can bring your guests and come up here and have dinner or have a drink and watch the fireworks on the lake. I mean, that is going to be one of the most dynamic views anywhere in Orlando. That restaurant will be extremely, extremely popular, in my opinion, because the only other restaurant I can think of have a view like that would be that one on top of that hotel out there at Disney, the one on top of the Contemporary. So this is really, really a special thing. And then, like I said, a lot of that will be more of a high end. And then on the first floor, you all have your drafts down there and so forth. And also, Mark, by the way, y'all been pitching that water park we're doing down on the lake down there. Well, it just got a double, about 100 double or more like 50% more. About double. So we decided it wasn't big enough. And actually, the person that came up with the idea was little David Siegel. And he said, well, why don't you take out those tennis courts and move to a different location and build it right down there? So they're going to move the little putt-putt golf, move the tennis courts, which they're going to have them, and they're going to double the size of the water park, and it's going to be more in the central part of the resort. And when is that going to be started, Mark? Will it be before March? Before March. Hey, listen, that other water park we pitched for 20 years, so getting them to commit to March is pretty damn good. I'm not going to complain about that, okay? So, let's talk about one last thing, and I'm going to stop and bring up the El Jefe Grande, but I have to say this, because Orlando Sentinel, the Wall Street Journal, I like to read it every day, and this was Friday, September 22nd, which again was 2 days after I did the Dayline meeting. And the reason why I mentioned that, because I said something in that meeting, and then there was an article that said exact words, and so I figured I'll just read it out on paper. It makes it more believable. All right, so this thing right here, let me tell you why it only, now we're going to talk to the future. We know where we're at presently, why we're going, and let me tell you, we're selling the same thing we did last year, and our BPG is just a little up, single digits, but still up. And last year we ran around saying it's the greatest year of all. So even though I'm flat and I don't have no growth, I ain't saying that. I'm saying if it was great last year, it's still great. And we're making extremely good profits, and we can expand and put that money back in the company. But I want to tell you this. This article says Americans are richer, okay? And let me just read it. It says, I'm not just going to read a paragraph. It says, lifted by rising home prices and buoyant stock market, U.S. household net worth reached a record $96.2 trillion in the second quarter, the Fed reported Thursday. Up $1.7 trillion from the first quarter. That was second quarter. So what is that? So the Fed every quarter, they put out a statement, the Federal Reserve Bank, of how much money all Americans have. This is cash, it's real estate, it's businesses, it's stocks, it's everything that you have in value. You know, your financial statement, but all 325 million of us. And the second quarter this year, it hit 96.2 trillion. You're gonna say, well, this is like monopoly money, but hang on. But that compared with 68.2 trillion a decade earlier, just before the recession hit. All right, so if you go back to 07, the amount of money that all Americans had at that time, value of everything, was 68.2 trillion. I know this is like monopoly money to you. But now it's 96 trillion, okay? Well, I didn't know the actual number, but I stood up here and said, why the future is going to be better now than anything that you've seen. The future of timeshare. Because that's really all that matters now. The past don't matter. I shared that with you where you kind of understand a little bit about how we got here. What really matters is that direction, future, okay? So let's talk about it. This is an article from the Wall Street Journal saying that Americans have more money now than they've ever had any time in the history of the world. I know that's true. You know why? You remember when I said earlier that in March of 09, the stock market went down to 6,600? Well, it's like 22,000 now. Okay, 22,000. So it's just a number, yeah, but it's over $20 trillion in paper. So for those of you that have a 401, you're damn right. You know if you own stock or your 401s, I know it's up. Okay, because what's happened is the stock market, so people feel richer. Somebody owns all those stocks. And anybody that has 401s in retirement, they feel richer because the number's going up. Houses. Go back to real estate. The prices are just about now where they were before the great crash. So if you go back to 05, 06, 07, when they hit the highest level, and they artificially were there, that wasn't a real number. The reason why that was there, because anybody could go buy a house without even showing a tax return. First time that banks have ever done that in the history of lending. It was stupid. Guys like me were like, are you kidding me? This is going to cause a mess. Because everybody's going to buy, the price is going to go up. They're going to say, hey, I bought mine for 200 and sold it for 250 a year later, and that's going to make more people want to go buy. And then it was 300, 350, 400, and then all of a sudden the banks go, oh my God, we made all these loans, these people aren't paying us. Oh crap. And then the market, then they wouldn't make loans, and then people couldn't buy them, and what happened? The price went down. But now it's little by little gone back up. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, to where we're at now. We're bad. So that $300,000 house that went to 150, back to 300. The people that own it, do they feel richer or poorer? They feel richer. Okay? If they're in the stock market, they have a retirement, they feel richer. Unemployment was over 10% in the crash. It's 4% now. So when we say 10%, for every 100 people, 90 had a job and 10 didn't. Now 96 got a job and 4 don't. So that's going to push wages up. It's basically people got jobs again all over the country. And one thing you could say about Donald Trump, he's working his ass off from daylight to dawn to create jobs. And jobs are the beginning, okay? Because once somebody got a job, they're going out to the restaurant. They're taking their girlfriend to a movie. You know, in the movies, you know, or they go to the restaurant. The restaurant they got to have waitresses to wait on them and bartend. You know, it just creates the whole thing. They go on vacation. So once people are working and people have more money, they feel better about going on vacation. We had a little slower this year because our Brazilians dropped down. They're not in the United States. Our Canadians and English dropped down. We had a very divisive election. Now we have these gigantic hurricanes, 3 Category 5s within a month. So we've experienced some things, but nothing stops it. The great thing about timeshare is when I started in 1983, interest rates were 17%. 17, 18%. A mortgage to get a house was. Unemployment was 10.5%. When we had 10% unemployment, at least we had low interest rates. So if you went out and buy it, could you imagine buying a house at 17% interest? So that was really bad in the 80s. This is cakewalk now. But even then, people kept buying. Like that registered nurse that bought my first week, boom, that wrote a check. You know why? If you have a recession, do nurses get laid off? No. Do linemen get laid off of the electrical company? No. And by the way, think them linemen. I went to my mama's this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and I was driving home down the turnpike, I must have counted 100 trucks headed north, okay? These electrical trucks, because I guess they get the lights on all in Florida and everything like that. And I was just almost praying every one of them, thinking, thank you, brother. Thank you, bro. Just driving by. Because they came down from I don't know where all they came from. It wasn't just Florida people. They come from all over the South to help us get our electricity back on. And that's a good thing. When you go to bed tonight, you should pray for all your brothers and sisters down in Puerto Rico. Because last week, when I gave a speech up here, I said, we got to pray for the people down there because they're finna get their ass kicked. That hurricane was coming. In fact, it was there that day. And you see the devastation in Puerto Rico. In fact, to let you know that Westgate Foundation money, I don't know that you know this, but Westgate's shipping a lot of food and supplies down there. Mark's already been, and David's already been in contact with the governor's wife. And Westgate, the company you work for, is sending supplies down, okay? We're sending diapers, we're sending food, we're sending water, and we're spending money, okay? And we got over 2,000 employees in our company that are from Puerto Rico. We got over 5,000 owners. We have over 5,000 owners in Puerto Rico, okay? So it's our moral obligation to help our brothers and sisters, and they need help, okay? And we're doing it. I just want you don't even know that. That's already been going on, okay? So you work for a company that does a tremendous amount for the community. It gives me pride, pride of ownership, pride to be part of this team. So let's finish with this, and I'm going to bring up David now where he can come up and you can hear from the king himself, but I'll just say this to you. You guys did what you had to do. We went through the summer season. You're the best of the best. And 2 of you are going to be getting Mercedes-Benz in a little bit. And you'll be driving one for the next 3 years. No charge, at least for 3 years. 2 of you are going to get a 7-day cruise anywhere you want in the world for 2. We're paying poor taxes and everything. You got no charge for that. And 2 of you are going to win a 7-day, 2-bedroom, 2-bath timeshare condo somewhere on vacation. Take your guests or family or whatever. That's going to be given away. And David's going to be rolling and pulling out the thing. But all I'll say to you is this. You got a lot to be thankful for. You don't have a problem. You think you got a problem? Get your ass down to Puerto Rico right now. That's got a problem, okay? Houston got a problem. Key West has got a problem. Go to the hospital next door. There's lots of people over there with cancer. There's people over there that are blind. They got problems. Don't let negativity get in your brain. As long as you're healthy enough to come in here and you're a good salesman, change your life with this opportunity. When I started with him, I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. I had a wife and a child, and fixed to have another one, okay? Which she was born in March, and I remember, because they didn't give us a day off. I remember saying, well, I hope that baby's born at nighttime, because I got to be at work in the morning at 7 o'clock. But no, he didn't. She did. She came at 6:30, and then Jake came early in the morning. I missed that day of work, but it did work out when I was able to work, go see her be born, and then get back to work the next day. But David gave me the opportunity. This company gave me the opportunity. It's the same opportunity you have. The same opportunity, okay? You can't be no dumber than me. I was born in Waycross, Georgia. Bobby said he graduated from college. Shit, I got 2 years of junior college. I guess I did graduate, but hell, it took me 3 years to get to 2 years of school, okay? But I wasn't going to interrupt him, But I learned a lot at junior college. It's in Palatka. St. John's River Junior College was awful good to me. But anyway, when I came here, I didn't have nothing. Really, not much, okay? And I was 27 years old, and I started working, and I took advantage of the opportunity. I couldn't believe that I could go somewhere, have some coffee or donut, meet some guests, and make $1,000 and be home at 12 or 1 o'clock. Okay? I couldn't believe that. I did that. I remember, and then I remember one day doing it, my first week or 2 in Westgate, and I was in the pool like 11:30. My brother just woke up. He lived with me at the time. He just woke up. He said, "Oh, you didn't work today?" I said, "Shit, I done been in, made $1,100, and it's 11:30. I'm sitting in this money book." And of course, then I figured out, wait a minute, why didn't I stay around and get 2 tours? Because I might have made $2,200. And then I realized, hey, I'm like a prospector. And David Siegel put me on the gold mine. And every time I wake up in the morning, I can get up and listen to the guy in my head. I can have one guy say, "Oh, shit, turn the alarm off, go back to bed. You got plenty of money in the bank. You work hard already." Or the other guy says, "No, you're scheduled to work today. Get your ass up, go shower, get on out there and do your job, and start chipping that, that's whatever the prospectors chip with, because you never know when you're going to get a nugget. And when you get them full down, 2 weeks or 20, 30, 40 grand and get a full down on them, that's a good high, man. I can tear it out. I like most of you, when I was growing up, experimented with some drugs and did a lot of drinking. I did a lot of drinking when I was young. But I ain't never had a damn high as good as getting that fool down and walking my ass up and getting that loan application. You remember how it was when they buy, you got to go get the loan app. Woo, Lord, you're walking with your chest up high, you know, you feel so good. You say, hey, Joe, what's up, homie? Yeah. You don't want your customer to see you, but that walk to the loan app was the greatest feeling in the world for me. I used to have the TOs standing at the door because they knew I was going to sell. They were standing at the door with loan apps because they didn't know who was getting that lay down that day, you know, just whichever mood I was in, who was going to give it to. But they were standing. Anyway, but you got the same opportunity because every day David is bringing you the customer. The customers are coming. And so you have the, I mean, like if you have a job and you make $10 an hour or $20 an hour or $40 an hour, you know, or $50 an hour, it's still a limited amount of money. Okay, $10 an hour is $400 a week, 40-hour week. You know, $20 would be $800 a week. You know, $40 an hour, $1,600 a week. Okay, which is about 80 grand a year. Okay, and it's easy to make 80 grand in this job, and you can work half an hour with somebody else. Okay, and so I don't know, man. Don't let it slip through your fingers. Create as many sales as you can. Work hard. Save your money. We all want the same things. It don't matter what color we are, what race we are, what even sex, man, what don't matter. Nothing. We all want the same thing. We want to eat when we're hungry. We want to sleep when we're tired. So we need a damn bed and we need a house or apartment. We want a car to drive us somewhere. You know, if we get a spouse and we have children, we want to be able to raise our children. And if they need braces, get the things they need. Or if they want to be in a good school or, you know, go on vacation. We all want the same things. And we're all the same people. We're just in all different stages of our life. You know, when I was young, I used to sell strawberries on the side of the road. I used to work at a Dairy Queen. I used to work at a Hardee's, hamburgers when I was all through high school. So when I go over to Chick-fil-A or go to McDonald's, I see me in there. Okay, because that's what I used to do. You know, I used to crop tobacco, that's picking tobacco. You don't never want to pick no tobacco. Damn, that's hard work. Woo! But it was $1 an hour, and nobody else paid $1 an hour. So the fact, back in them days, that was in high school, but the fact that David Siegel gives you opportunity to make $1,000, I don't know, don't take that lightly and don't ever let it slip through your fingers. But let me just say this. I'm going to bring David up because I know I've talked way too long. But I'll say this. Thank you for the job you've done. You've done a fabulous job or you wouldn't be in this room. You would have been cut. You're the team that we're going with for the fall. All the cuts are made. Know that when you get tired or negative, you're just like everybody else. But deal with it in your head. And get up the next day and go to work. And make as much money as you can. And don't spend it all. Save it. Save your money. Buy a house. If you're paying rent and you're gonna rent there for $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 a month, you should be buying. Because what happens, 15 or 20 years ago, about like this. I've been here almost 34 years, and I don't know where it went. It just went. It taught anybody older, just like your grandma always said, enjoy it now because the older you get, the faster it goes. And that's what everybody says. And your whole life is just going to go faster than you think. And when you get old, you don't want to have no money. You want to have some money because you want to be able to do things. You want to be able to go like Bobby just went to Europe and took his wife over there for 2 weeks. And you want to be able to treat yourself. You know, you want to have your house paid for. You want to have money in the bank. You'll have your Social Security and then your savings and live off that. After you get your house paid for, maybe you buy another or rent it out or a little bit. I mean, build your future. Build your life here. Because the greatest opportunity, many people don't get it. Many people don't get it. If I stayed in a little town up in Stark where I lived in, there's no jobs up there paying $30,000, $40,000. Yeah, everybody works in the prison. I'd probably be the car salesman or something, you know, maybe the manager in the car lot. But I still wouldn't be, I'd probably make $40,000 and get a company car and think I was living in high cotton. You know, like, I'm the king of the world, you know. But the fact that you can, anyway, I know I've rambled on. I went too long. I want to bring you, boss, because let me just say this. I've worked for this man over 34 years. And it might sound like I'm brown-nosing, but I don't need to brown-nose him. And he knows I talk to him. If I don't agree with him, I tell him. He's usually right 9 out of 10 times. But I'll tell you this. He works harder than anybody in the room. The reason why I've been with him 34 years and will be until the day I take my last breath or he takes his last breath is because he works harder than anybody. And you know what? He don't need a lot. It ain't like he takes all the money and blows it on himself.
I saw him when we were in that crisis, and some of the banks were not even questioning whether we were going to make it or not. I saw him sell assets, lots of assets, and put every single penny of it right back at the company and never miss payroll. I saw him sell a piece of property or a company, and I'm not going to go in detail, but I know the check was $25 million, and that was, I don't remember, it was the company we had in Arizona, so I'm not going to say which one. It wasn't Timeshare, because he owns other things at Timeshare. And everybody, all his lawyers, they said, put that in the bank. Do not put that $25 million back in Westgate. Because we weren't sure. We didn't know nobody knew how far the knife was going to drop. And they said, don't put that $25 million back in, because you're going to use it right up and put it over here to your side. Do you know what he did? I swear, he wrote for deposit and put it right back in the company. In other words, that was just one deal. He sold assets and kept funding. He goes, I'm never going to miss a paycheck. When he bought the 3,000 room hotel in Vegas, there was 2,000 workers there. Every bank, every lender, he bought it from Goldman Sachs, said you got to close it down and remodel the whole thing and lay these 2,000 people off. He said, I ain't going to do it. He goes, I can remodel the whole thing. I ain't going to lay nobody off. They said, yeah, but your wages are too high. These are all union people. You got cocktail wages make $85,000 a year. It's bankrupt. Goldman Sachs is telling you, bankers, shut it down, remodel it, get all new employees, a lot of half costs, and don't worry about these workers. Worry about how much money you're going to save. And then, he didn't do it. He said, no, because I am not letting those 2,000 people lose a job. So there's a lot of reasons. I've seen many, many things like that where David has done. I respect him. He's an honest man. He's a businessman. So if you're on the wrong side of business, they might not like him. He might not. But you'll never find anybody that knows him if he hears all the facts and knows he doesn't make the right decision. David, thank you for the opportunity that you gave everybody in this room to change your life. And thank you for the opportunity you gave me. And please come up and address the standing ovation for Mr. David Segal.
As I said, it's not a pleasure following him. Wow. Don't expect a speech like that from me.
Well, I'll buy it.
4 hours ago, I knew what I was going to say, but I'll be damned. I'll be damned if I can remember now. When you get to be my age, your memory is the second thing to go. This audience is kind of slow. I can't remember what the first thing is. Anyway, before I forget, I want to thank you all again for this wonderful contribution. It will go to help a lot of people. It'll help change a lot of lives. And like Jim said, we are spending a lot of money right now to help Puerto Rico and get back on their feet. Well, I really did forget what I was going to say. I'm going to make this short. I'm going to make this short. He told me what to say. You know, to be successful in your life, you have to be lucky. To be lucky means you have to be at the right place at the right time. You all are at the right place at the right time. Consider all of yourselves to be very lucky. I was at the right place at the right time in 1955. I was at the grand opening of Disneyland in Anaheim, California. It was in the middle of orange groves, farms and ranches. And Disney opened up. The people who came to the opening were mostly farmers in their bib overalls. And it was a big event, but it wasn't, no one knew what it was going to be like. It was just another amusement park. But a few years later, I went back, and a whole city had grown up around Disneyland, California. And I was living in Miami at the time, and when I heard that Disney World was coming to Orlando, I said, that's where my future's going to be. Because Orlando was orange groves, farms, and ranches. It was even in Orange County, which was the same county that Disneyland opened in California. And I had a crystal ball. I knew exactly what was going to happen in Orlando. But the local people, they didn't know. They were selling their land for $100 an acre, for $200 an acre, for $500 an acre. Disney bought 30,000 acres, twice the size of Manhattan Island, and they paid an average of $208 an acre for all their property. And I came from Miami with 2 wives and 6 children. I don't know why you're cheering that. I wasn't a Mormon. I wasn't married to both of them at the same time, but I was supporting them both. And I had no money, but I knew the future was bright, and I started selling land around Disney. Wasn't even open for another year. I started selling land around Disney World, where it was being built. And guess who was buying the land? People from California, because they also knew what was going to happen in Orlando. And I did very good at selling, and then I started buying land and then reselling it. So it was just like a few years ago when people were buying houses in the morning and selling them in the afternoon. I was buying land in the morning, selling it in the afternoon, and I did very well. Fortunately, I was a good salesman. And but I knew what was going to happen, and I could take that vision and express it to my prospective buyers who were flying in from all over the world, but primarily from California. And by 1975, 5 years after I got here broke, I was thinking about retirement. I had done that well. And I had an 80-acre orange grove 1 mile west of Disney. I also had a couple of old hotels. I had a couple apartment complexes. But I had that 80-acre orange grove, and I didn't pick the oranges, but I had a company that would pick them. And I'd go down there, and whenever we needed some oranges or tangerines, I'd go take the family down, and we would pick them off the tree. And in 1980, 5 years after I was thinking about retirement, a gentleman came to me and he said, I want to buy 10 acres of your orange grove. And I said, what are you going to do with it? He said, I'm going to timeshare it. I said, what's that? He did such a good job of explaining the concept to me that I decided not to sell him the property, but to build it myself. I figured the most I could ever sell in my lifetime would be 16 units. That's 832 weeks. In fact, I really worried after I built 16 units in the back of the orange grove. Oh, incidentally, I built them in the back that in the event it failed, nobody would see it. It was built on the back on a sinkhole, which I had a farmer dig out and make a little lake out of. But I figured I had to sell 832 weeks. How am I going to find 832 people to buy timeshare? I'm happy to say that today we have over 500,000 happy owners. But I wasn't convinced. Timeshare was unheard of. We were the pioneers in it. There were only a few other timeshares anywhere in the world. And we were right at the beginning. You know, that was 1980 when we started construction at Westgate Villas. And because I didn't have faith in it, I didn't build a clubhouse. I didn't build a sales room. I didn't build a swimming pool. I didn't even build a road. We had a dirt road that the orange trucks would come through and to pick the oranges or to fertilize the grove. And I figured, that's good enough. These people can drive back. I poured a slab in front of the A and B building, next to the A and B building. I put a tent on it. I got a few tables and I laid them out. Didn't even have sides on the tent. And we opened for sales. I hired some salespeople. We opened for sales December the 15th, 1982. And why that date is so important, it's not because that's the day we opened Westgate Villas for sales. That was the date of the worst freeze in Florida history. And the temperatures got down into the 20s. The salesmen came to work in ski jackets. The customers came to tour in Bermuda shorts. I felt so bad that I brought the heaters kerosene heaters in from the Grove, and we laid them around the tent. And I figured no one's ever going to buy. And guess what? They bought. And they kept buying. And then we built, I finally, the night before, and I'm just kind of giving you a little picture of what it looked like as we started this company. The night before, I figured people were going to want to know where the clubhouse and the swimming pool are. So I had a real estate sign in my garage. I painted it white, and I got some black paint, and I painted future site of clubhouse and swimming pool, and I went to bed. And the next morning I woke up to go to the sales slab. I guess it wasn't the room, it was the slab. And my sign, all the letters had run. And I said, well, no one's going to show up anyway. I'll just take it and stick it in the sand. And that's what I did, this ugly, ugly sign. I wish I'm sure I have it. It's in a warehouse somewhere. And that's how we started. And then we built a clubhouse, and then we finally built a swimming pool, and we got a triple wide trailer. We put that on the side of the C building, and so we couldn't build our next building. We had to build the next one, which was the D building. So it took a while before we could build the C building. But that's how we started, with one resort, 16 units, in the middle of an orange grove. Oh, by the way, we took great care to protect the trees, and then the freeze killed them all. So, but people, while they were still there, people loved coming out and picking the oranges as they would come in for a tour, because along that dirt road, the trees were barren. There were no oranges because everybody had picked them. But that's how the beginning of Westgate. And we kind of, I think the first year we just did a few $1 million in sales. And then the luckiest thing that ever happened to me in my life was Jim Gissy came to work for me. And the rest is history. And as much as he appreciates what I've done for him, I doubly appreciate what he's done for me. And I really, as confident as I am in myself, I don't think I could have done it without him. It might have probably taken a lot longer. We might still be selling out of that A and B building. After A and B, we went all the way through the alphabet. And then we did double A through double Z. And then we did triple A through triple Z. And then we started numbering the buildings, like you see out there at the villas. And then we added, resorts in Miami and Orlando, et cetera, et cetera. But it's been quite a journey. And I couldn't have done it without the people like in this room and people like you throughout the company that have really, I've provided the opportunity. You all have taken that opportunity and run with it. And money does not get me pleasure anymore. I got plenty of it. I got more than I could ever spend. Helping people gives me great pleasure.
Yeah.
Your success gives me great pleasure. When I hear one of you say, Mr. Siegel, I just bought a new house, or I just put my kids in private school, or I have a daughter that's going to University of Florida. This is what makes me happy, not the money. I can always make money, but to change lives. And when you make a sale, you're changing lives. You're saving lives. If you don't believe it, there's been studies done that people who vacation live longer than people who don't vacation on a regular basis. When you make a sale, you could be saving their life. You're making their life longer. And that's important for you to know. You're helping those people. Not only that, but they're having quality vacations every year instead of, staying in days inns or holiday inns, but they're closer to their families. You have no idea the hundreds of letters that I receive about people who say, we've never been as close to our kids as we have been since we bought a timeshare. So you're changing lives too. Every time you make a sale, yeah, you make a commission, and that's wonderful. You change your own life, but you're also changing lives of those that you come in contact with. So I want to thank you all, and to show my appreciation, we're going to give out some cars and some trips and some vacations. And I wish it was possible to give every one of you a brand new Mercedes, but